Bill Moseley,
Danielle Harris,
Dick Warlock,
George Romero,
Kane Hodder,
Robert England,
Ronnie Blakely,
C.J. Graham.
and you're listening to
Deep in the Horror of Texas.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Oh, hey, you okay?
Damn enchilada!
You gonna be alright?
I'm feeling woozy air. What's in the box?
It's black as time.
What's in the fucking box?
Anything!
Something prime time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deep in the Horror of Texas. This is Jeff.
I'm Nathan.
And this is Ralph.
All right, so we're here to talk about the awesome Netflix series, The House on Haunted Hill House, The Hill House Haunting, The Haunted House of Hill House,
The Gilded House.
The Game of Thrones of the House of the Hills.
Let me chime in. The Haunting of Hill House.
Thank you.
Directed by Mr. Mike Flanagan.
How many episodes of this awesome
Too
fucking series?
many.
How can you say too many?
God.
This isn't a Fox TV show. They didn't bombard us with 22 seasons or episodes of fucking, one season.
When does Fox do that?
Oh, every Fox TV show carries at least
Exorcist
20
only
to
had
24.
10.
Those are limited series. Anything that's like
They-
Supernatural, Smallville.
They buy 22 episodes. They cut you off at 10.
Well, I never watched Dharma and Greg.
Oh, that's a great series. Oh my god. Yeah. Oh man, give me Northern Exposure or Wings.
I didn't know you were a Wings fan. That is
Wings is
horse
probably one of
shit.
the best shows ever.
It's about guys talking about airplanes.
Cue the Wings theme music. You were more of a Beverly Hills 90210 fan, weren't you?
I was Troop Beverly Hills with Shelley Long.
Oh, Shelley Long's great. What was the early TV show that you got into in younger years?
Married with Children.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What's the ones that sticks out to you that you enjoyed as you were young, but not so much now?
Roseanne.
Oh, God, no.
No, you didn't like Roseanne back in the day?
Fucking hated Roseanne.
Gotcha.
No.
I hated TV shows. I would be hard pressed to
All right,
name
what's like the oldest TV show you remember like watching?
Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
It was like 80
Yeah, it was-
80 to like
Yeah.
86 or 87.
It was like a thing back then. Little House on the
Yeah.
Prairie.
Michael Landon.
Yep.
Yeah.
For me, it was the resyndication of 66 Batman.
Gotcha. I remember a lot of Nick and Night shit. They would replay Mary Tyler Moore, Honeymoon, or stuff like that.
Oh, well, yeah,
But
yeah.
no, but
Okay.
I'm saying, like, no, I'm just saying, like, I remember that kind of shit being, like, old, but I think truly, like, for me, it was, like, Silver Spoons. I remember that a lot. Married with Children, of course. Yeah. But to say, like, good TV series that I enjoyed a
I
lot,
love Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote was good.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I was a
I
kid.
didn't watch that one.
I loved
Twilight Zone, Outer Limits.
well, yeah, of course.
Tales from the Dark Side.
I'm trying to think of like a smaller show.
I remember Tales from the Dark Side a lot. Like,
Outer Limits.
I
and shit.
really, like, my mom made a thing for me. Like, we would look at that old little TV guide and we would
Yeah.
pen out, like, when this Tales from the Dark Side came out, and I would catch episodes. Not as frequent as I remember, but it was a big thing in my life when I was growing up as a kid.
I mean, a show that I watched that wasn't really a series, but it was a show that was continual. Was I always like popped in on Mystery Science Theater like every Saturday morning? I think it was Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon.
It's funny you bring that up. Did you see they dropped a new series for it on Netflix? The first movie for the new season of Mystery Science Theater is
Yeah.
Mac and Me.
Oh, that's
What?
They cover Mac and
that's
Me.
great.
That's the first movie they do. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I haven't sat down to watch it because I've been bombarded with a whole bunch of other shit. But yeah, seeing that just come up on the queue, it was like, oh, like I need to make time. I watched the return of Mystery Science Theater. Like it was just, I just binged it. It was so fucking great.
Yeah, I
Very
mean,
fun.
I used to watch that. I used to watch a little bit of Silk Stockings, like when I was like
Oh yeah, Red Shoe
10 to-
Diaries.
when I was like 10 to 15.
Oh, yeah.
Red Shoe Diaries.
Oh yeah, with David Duchovny.
No, Stockings.
Oh yeah, Silk Stockings. Yeah, I remember that.
Just because they always had sexy women, like that intro was like, oh,
Yeah.
What is this show? And then, you realize you wasted an hour.
There's no plot.
There's no plot. Just a bunch of hot chicks in lingerie.
All she does is walk around naked. Jesus.
Great. Just keep rewinding.
This is amazing.
There was that, and I don't know. Like, besides like Saturday morning cartoons, that was like the only thing I was religious about.
Full fathom long. Could you think, from being young to now where you're at, did you ever imagine there would be a time when like you would just get a fucking entire series just dropped in your lap?
No, God, no.
No, like that's why, even with Breaking Bad and
Being a serial, like doing it
series
next
like
Sunday.
yeah, serials. Anything that I like super enjoyed, after I was 20 years old, I just never watched until it was done, and then I'd power watch.
Of course.
So like Sopranos, I watched real religiously for the first 2 seasons, and then I stopped until they were done.
Gotcha.
And then I power watched the fuck out of it. Same with Breaking Bad. I missed the first season, came in on the second season, and then kind of let it play out until the 5th season, and I watched.
You like watch hardcore, yeah.
So, I love when they just, here you go, vomit all of it in your lap. It's like, oh,
I was like, what do I do?
I'm taking 4 days off work.
Yeah. Because I know a lot of shows suffer from that. You lose momentum because you're having to tune in. Mid-season finales throw you off. You're 2 months without the show, then you got to kind of fall back into it.
Or life happens and you get busy and you miss the fucking thing and you're pissed off because you get on Facebook and they ruin it. And
I thought he was dead. When did she come back? All that kind of crap.
Exactly.
I remember Twin Peaks being a big deal when I was growing up. And as I got older into my teens, I was able to revisit it through VHSs and DVDs and stuff like that. And that's always been a great show to like bring into the perspective of like, this is what limited series used to be. And it's amazing to see where we're at now, because when they brought Twin Peaks back, it was so unique and fresh and did such unique, amazing things. Then I see Netflix do things like this. And like we're about to talk about Mike Flanagan's Haunting on Hill House. You don't think TV or TV series could ever be handled to the way of this standard? It's like film, but drawn out for, like you said,
high production value.
Exactly.
It looks like a high production value.
Because you get one director, he does 10 episodes, so it has a singular vision, and the intensity that's carried through all 10 of these episodes, it's probably the best I've seen in quite some time.
I think this hopefully will open Hollywood's eyes. Like, okay, we're going to hire one dude to do the goddamn job. Like, these guest constantly changing directors, like you said, changes the flow of everything. I mean, story, the intensity, the way it's told, everything changes. So by having one single director and one single guide through this entire story, it's cohesive, even though it's told very confusing. I mean, you get a lot of back and forth and
through timelines.
Present 6 weeks ago, 50 years ago, 2 weeks after that. It's like, where the fuck am I in this timeline? So like the first 3 or 4 episodes was really jarring because I didn't know where the fuck I was. I couldn't connect. It wasn't like long enough segments to where I could connect the children to the grown-up version. So I was like, Jesus Christ, who is this?
And it's awesome hearing you say that, because I did not have that issue at all.
It was crazy.
There was zero learning curve for this narrative delivery, because you're right, it goes from the children being in the house, but you're going from time of the haunting, the main event, and then you're going back to like when they just got there. You're going back into the present day. You're like you said,
right.
it's like
it's a lot of jumping, and the entire course of that entire past takes place over the summer.
Yes,
from the moment that they step in with their bags packed to the moment that they are leaving the house in the first episode, that is all over the course of a summer vacation.
Because initially is what
no idea on that.
For anybody that
never knew that.
Yeah, if you're fresh to this, go watch the series, please, before we get into it. Because what Ralph's about to get into is like they basically family moves into a house and they're gonna like flip it.
Yeah, they're pretty much they're moving into a house to flip it. They've bought it. They're going to spend the entire summer living there and flipping it at the same time.
Gotcha.
To make enough money to be able to make their forever home.
Yeah.
The home that they're going to permanently stay in.
I love the idea of the forever home, because you have this guy, the dad, who's just constantly, I can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom who's constantly, she's an architect or a designer?
Yeah, she's a designer.
So she's like constantly...
You don't see her working as much as the father, but she's designing stuff. She's making plans for home. She's doing the groundwork for it.
Gotcha.
Getting everything set up. But yeah, if you haven't seen this show, I'm pretty sure I can say from all of us that this is something that you need to sit down and watch before you come listen to us, because we're going to be spoiling a lot of shit.
Because this was something that was a gift to get in October, and for us to tackle it now around the time that we're talking about it, it's like these 10 episodes were maybe not the horrific TV show that everybody expected, but they definitely hit that note of being emotionally involved in the terror and the dread and the family dynamics that I guess we weren't we're all familiar with, but they did such a like Nate said, high production value job at it. It was just really unique.
Yeah, no, they really did. And for this to be dropped the same time that pretty much every other streaming service was dropping a Halloween-esque kind of like short story, movie, TV show, whatever have you, this one really stood out amongst all of them. This is the one that got everybody talking. And I'm sure a lot of you, or not a lot of you, but some of y'all probably recognize the title Haunting of Hill House. This was loosely based on the book done by Shirley Jackson back in 1958. It's been adapted twice now, one for a movie that was in 1960s, 1970s, and then another one in 92, 93 with Liam Neeson.
I think there's actually like two other movies. There's
Are there
like
two?
The Legend of Hill House.
Legend of Hill House, yeah.
And then
That was the
Return to Hill House.
I think so.
Okay. I'm not sure. Those were like
But yeah,
70s.
like you said, the direct adaptation, though, is like you said, the one you mentioned in the 60s, and then The Haunting that I think we're all more familiar with, The Haunting with Liam Neeson and Owen Wilson and stuff, because that was the one that, I don't know, we all had to suffer through.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. But like this series, again, it's very loosely based off it. They take some moments from the book, put it into the series, and they just make it work. The way that it's shot, the way that it's done. They even play homage to the author herself by a character by the name of Shirley.
Oh. That's the oldest daughter, right?
Yeah, it's the oldest of the daughters. Directed by Mike Flanagan. The production company was Amblin Television and Paramount Television.
Oh, wow.
Gilbert.
Yeah.
Yeah, they both had hands in it. It was given to us on Netflix on October 12th. It's shot in an aspect ratio of 1.78 to 1
Wow.
in UHD.
I love it. It's music to my fucking ears. It's not mumbo jumbo, people.
Mumbo.
It's not mumbo jumbo.
Fucking what to do with the aspect ratio? Fucking shit.
I figured you'd get a little kick out of that.
Now that I have a smart TV 4K, I do want to know the aspect ratio, sir.
Yeah. Stream it in HD. Oh my god.
UHD. Oh my god. Oh my god. We're going to come over and watch it.
Yeah,
on our
I
TV
did
now.
today. I had to watch the last episode again today, and wouldn't you know it was bright in my fucking room, so I couldn't see a fucking thing.
Glare for days.
man.
Well, it was just like the episode's so dark that's
yeah.
like when they're just in the house.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I think that's a tit.
That's a book. Everything. That's Daredevil. There's tits, I guess. That's his helmet. Oh, that's his helmet. It's Vincent D'Onofrio. God damn it.
Shit, I thought those breasts looked really red.
It's
Vincent D'Onofrio.
That was just one giant boob.
just one big old boob. But this show is some beautiful work. The way it's written, the characters that are written into it, I think they did a great job selling you on the family, selling you on the relationship between all of them. Because as you get further and further into the story, the characters, they have some messed up fucking lives.
Yeah.
They really do. Like, each episode in this 10-episode series, with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 episodes, deals with a member of the family.
And I think that was always the expectation, because like as you go with like from the oldest brother that takes the first episode, you know, and the way it ends with Nell's ghost. I mean, everything is this.
That was fucking trip.
It's just stacking on tension and so much despair that by the time you get to certain episodes, your heart literally breaks, because you're building these expectations up, and then you see the way they fall apart, and you want everybody's happy ending. And it's kind of what drives you through the whole series, is like, I want to see this family come together somehow. You know, I want to see them work through these horrible obstacles that are just constantly trying to tear them apart. And I think that was like one of the biggest things that you get from the series that you don't expect. You expect the haunted house TV show.
Yeah. Well, like in a genre with this is titled as horror, and rightfully so. But in a genre littered with like haunted houses and poltergeist-esque jump scares, you're like, oh, haunted Hill House, whatever, another haunted story. But the thing that makes, to me, that made this so great was the use of the metaphorical ghosts that they put into this.
Definitely.
Because each one of these episodes gives you a backstory for each character, gives you the trauma that they dealt with through the lens of a ghost story.
Totally.
And by the time you get to the very end of it, because each ghost story is done from the child's perspective and the amount of trauma that they go through, when actuality, by the time you get to the end of it, you find out it's them dealing with the death of the mother.
Yep.
Because I can't imagine, unless you just had a horrible relationship with your parents, I can't imagine that being good for any child.
Oh no, I think the death of a parent's.
You told me once upon a time a theory of what each child represents.
It was the 7 stages of loss. So I guess there was the grieving steps.
Yeah, the 5 stages. You have denial, anger, acceptance, rage, and bargaining.
Yeah, and it was interesting how they all reflected on the children, because everybody has their situation. You have one kid, the oldest son, like kind of profiteering off of making his success off of the family's trauma,
their problems, their issues.
And I love the way
he's so cynical about all of it.
Well, I love the way it's told, because we talk about the reality TV ghost series stuff, and the way he's kind of staying at the house with the lady, and she's telling her about like his her experience with seeing her dead husband, and the way he has to kind of prove her wrong, but then also try to see. He wants to see if there's something, real out there.
He wants to believe her, but
he's the skeptic.
He's a skeptic. He's cynical about it. He's very much like, whenever she asks him, does this see the paranormal? Well, the thing about paranormal is that it's not really true. Anything can be considered paranormal until it's proven, then it's just supernatural. Or you can kind of say it's supernatural, because back in caveman days, you'd see the full moon, think it's the eye of an angry god, and people would literally die from shock, only to find out that it's just everything being in its natural order. There's a reason for everything, but you could see it in him that he kind of wants to believe that there's something there.
Yeah.
Oh man, I bet Eclipses fucked people up back in the day.
Yeah. Well, I was listening to this podcast, and they were talking about the skepticism of like the Ed and Lorraine Warren stuff, and they were saying what's funny is that back in the day, scientists couldn't see microbacterias and stuff. So what's to say that some of the stuff that Ed and Lorraine may have encountered is real? We just haven't gotten so far in our technology or our understanding that we can't see it yet.
Go with the George Lucas explanation. Midichlorians.
Which would,
There's a lot. I mean,
backfire.
Dude, you got to keep in mind, our minds can only handle so much. We only have discovered, we know more about Mars than we do our own deepest oceans.
And I know we talked about this too. We always wanted to do a deep dive episode where we talk about some of our ghost stories that we kind of...
Ooh, can we do that on this one?
We reflect on. Because I know we have our things that we just can't explain. Like, it goes beyond my rational thoughts and your rational thoughts, and you talk about some of the things that your dad's encountered with the actual direct fire in the sky fucking guy.
That's true.
There's so many things that I love that this series can tie into, because as our families, and I'm sure everybody's family has, we have those little ghost stories that hide in our little, our lore, to say, that makes this series so familiar, because as you deal with personal traumas, whether it be loss in the family or addiction or just struggle with sibling rivalry, it's like this thing ties into so many things that it fucking just covers the scope of like familiarity, but then also that hint of like that haunting sensation that you get from watching such a cool series. Or it's the reason that you do kind of run sometimes when you turn off the light to the living room, when you run to the bedroom. It's like, it's 3 a.m. I don't know what might be still latching onto me or this house or tonight.
The unknown.
Exactly.
The ghost stories that haunt you for your entire life. The the problems that you may experience, and this show really does play into that.
Is it your guilt? Is it your... I mean, is it supernatural? I mean, that's the thing. It's weird about what we carry with ourselves as we are alone in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine this, Jeff. Imagine like a Hereditary, as you say, flip the lights off in the dark, run to the bed because you don't know it's there. Imagine me posted up in that corner, bro.
Oh.
Naked.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
And Jeff's just like walking past,
Nick,
and you're
go
like,
home.
I don't have my glasses on.
does he see it?
God damn it. That'd be like Ralph's ghost story. Like, I thought I saw something. It was winking at me.
Like Ralph ever wants to see anything supernatural, he just takes off his glasses.
Everything's supernatural at that point. Everything's just a giant blur.
It was a blur. I saw it.
I swear there was a blur. But no, like you were saying though about everybody having their own kind of trauma and whatnot. Back to Hill House, the way it's written, everybody in this show has their ghosts or their traumas, their wounds, and
They
that's
all got a
actually,
monkey on their back.
they all do, and that was someone by the name of K.M. Weiland actually explored the idea of the metaphorical ghosts, and you see it in a lot of really good writing, a lot of entertainment nowadays. And Hill House uses it to show what kind of damages are done to these main characters and how they got so fucked up going from childhood to their main lives, and just the amount of story that they have. Like, fuck, a great example, Shirley.
Oh yeah.
Like, Shirley's first encounter with death was in the form of a box of kittens.
Yeah.
Like, in the most unassuming form whatsoever. And for the last kitten to be alive and end up having like this demonic face, only to find out it's diseased and dying. That's the entire reason why they were left to die.
Their lips moving and like bug crawling out of them. That was all.
And then to fast forward to whenever the mother died, she's still she's scarred by those kittens. She didn't see what happened to her mom, but whenever she comes to the casket and sees the mom and she looks normal, like nothing happened.
She appreciates the situation.
She
like, this is what you
appreciates
did. Thank you. You make you look like she's sleeping.
Yeah, you fixed her.
But Shirley's big twist for me was that she was so hands-on with when Nell goes to the house and she passes away. She deals with Nell's embalming and preparation for the burial, and that was hard.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely hard.
Like this,
and it shows in her character that she's wanting to control that.
Yeah,
she doesn't want anybody to experience the death that she went through, so she's become this control freak of a mortician.
Yes,
and that's the ghost that she carries with her. That's the trauma that she has because she doesn't want anybody else to see the horrors of life. That's the reason whenever the kids show up, and she's like, fuck, and she like has to peel everything off and explain to the kids.
That wasn't her idea though. That was her younger sister that told her to do that. Remember, she takes her into the closet and she tells her, "This is what you tell. You don't lie about anything.
Right.
You be up front." And I love that Teresa, I think is the younger sister.
Theo.
Thank you. She's constantly the balance to Shirley because she's like, they're both almost always going into the deep end.
Yeah,
that's why she lives in her guest house.
And they keep saving each other from so many frantic situations. I love that they're this sisterly balance, and Nell is just on this and this little fucking just a little outside because she's almost the chance that the family has to be sustainable and perfect.
Nell has always represented the purity to me, even when she was an adult. She was like just a pure person. Where Theo's a fucking drunk, crazy, she's psychologist, so she's overly sensitive. She always has to wear gloves because she can read somebody's fucking past. And then you've got the control freak Cheryl, and then you got the exploiter of Steve, and then
but Nell's
what's Nell's twin brother, Luke. Who's the complete opposite of her, who's just a bad seed.
Well, what's weird is that Nell ends up being the martyr, and like the ghost is literally, as we get into it, is herself. The haunting that she's going to be haunted by is herself being the martyr for the family.
Is amazing.
Which is unreal because you almost feel like the mom should have been the martyr to the family, the savior. But she's the one that gets confused by the house. She becomes the one that wants to solidify the family and keep it and preserve it and put it in this little glass bottle and keep it the way it is forever.
Well, you got to keep in
Because
mind the
she's
mom
fucked
had
with
like a little bit of mental problems.
like
where
kind of
she-
like Theo.
And I always found it ironic. Every time she like started flipping or wigging out, she'd like
Have the
scrunch her
migraines?
face and the migraines, and she'd be like, all I can see is colors.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I don't see colors anymore. It's just like, oh, like all I see is black.
Like very Jack from The Shining kind of shit. You
Yeah.
know? It's like
Yeah.
she's being pushed into the deep end.
She's
but
tuned out of the world being in this house.
because she's somewhere in the middle ground between what Theo has and maybe not what Theo has. You know what I mean? 'Cause
Well,
Theo-
she is exactly what Theo has,
Gotcha.
but she doesn't. She's not
Not to that degree, though.
Yeah, she's
She's
like
not-
a very.
because it was her grandma that had to wear the gloves. She
Yeah.
passed on the gloves because her
She's
grandma.
like a very dim light, where Theo's like
Yeah.
the Luxor.
Yeah.
She just fucking touch you and read everything.
But I love that that's the influence the house has, is that some people are just so tired of being in the house that they do fuck with the families that are in there. Their purpose is to haunt,
Yeah.
is to be
The
insidious.
caretakers.
Well, the caretakers are just this beautiful way of looking at the haunting.
Well, and the caretakers, the thing with them is that they found a way to be able to continue to be at that house without being fucked with.
And influenced by it.
They stay on the outskirts.
We don't be here. We're not here after nightfall.
Right, but the woman, I can't remember her name, but the woman caretaker, she's always so preachy and biblically and strict and fucking mean to the
But I think
children. It's like, it's weird.
But I think it's because she's still coping with the loss
Her
that she
loss,
did
yeah.
experience. The stillborn baby is the beautiful idea of why she has that wall in front of her.
yeah,
'Cause
it's,
she
it's almost
inevitably-
like the MacGuffin of this story too.
Because she inevitably knows the only reason she's caretaker here is because when she dies, she's going to be here with her baby.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to let that baby be forever bound to this house without her.
Yeah.
So she's just like, she saw the kids there, so she's like, I have to be here because I saw the children.
Yeah. Because they even, if I'm not mistaken, they even explained it that one of the reasons, the main reason that they don't stay there is because she was starting to go mad because she was hearing the baby after it died. And so
Remember
to
the
keep
dad-
her from going crazy, they don't stay in the house.
And you only
That's
get that from the dad.
The dad.
When they do in the mold fucking episode. Yeah. Because he just lays it on thick of like,
Yeah, he that's where you get that exposition as to why they're not there.
yeah. Or why they
don't
stay caretakers.
Well, and the other point of this is we find out later, we always think it's a ghost throughout the whole series, but they
Luke's-
had another
Luke's little friend.
Abigail, right?
Yeah,
So
Luke's friend.
Luke is always drawing this little girl, and they're like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Abigail. She's a girl out in the woods." And they're like, "Yeah, okay, imaginary friend." But then you start seeing her, and you're like, "Okay,
Yeah.
okay, this is a ghost." And then
This
you
is the ghost
fucking
of the
realize, and then you fucking realize that this isn't a ghost; this is a living person, and it's the caretaker's kid, which
Yeah.
we find out like horrifically in that last part of her life because.
Yeah.
She spends the night, that one fatal night, and that's
Yeah.
all it took was the mom's last. I don't know. It was like
Let's
the
have
mom.
a tea party.
Like the mom was really taking the first steps into preserving the family as they were. And what's weird is that she invites the little girl to the tea party too, unbeknownst that it's the. I don't know. Like, does she,
I don't think she knew. I don't think she was in her right
she's so
state of mind
stuck.
either.
Yeah, she's stuck within what the house is showing her and what she's seeing.
Yeah, keep in mind, the husband's like, look, go stay with your sister for like a fucking week. Just get out of the house
Yeah.
because she's losing it. She's getting these migraines more often. She's having outbursts towards the children. And she's very sweet throughout it. But when she goes dark, she goes dark. So the husband's like, look, after the caretakers told him the story and all these events have started happening, he's like, just get out of the house for a week. Go to your sister's.
Yeah.
She leaves, goes to the hotel, and comes immediately back. I mean, it's that strong a force on her. So she comes back. I don't think she's the mom at that point. Remember, she's always got the crazy...
the 20s lady.
Yeah,
the younger one
1920s
telling
lady.
her how to preserve the family.
Exactly, and she's always got her whispering in her ear, so I think she's kind of under like a trance during that whole situation. Because when she bangs her head off the wall, she kind of snaps out of it for a sec, but still to no avail.
Just a little side note: did you notice that the hotel room that she stays in, that's the same one Nell's in? That's the same hotel room.
I love it.
I was like, oh my god.
I love
And
how
that's the
everything
same
goes full
hotel
circle.
room. That's
That
the
they-
same
that they
hotel
end up
room
staying
that they yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Fucking crazy. I don't know if that was intentional, but
oh yeah,
fucking
That's
crazy.
The full circle they do in this fucking show is just,
So many full circles. Oh my god.
dude.
Like the scene with no dancing.
oh dude, that gave me
Heartbreaking.
goosebumps.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get the story and you see what she's dancing with, your heart just breaks again.
Yeah.
Because you're just like I said, like Nate had said, like, why did you cry at the show? I was like, no, every fucking episode, I think something either teared me up or made me fully fucking like tear and cry. Because it was just like, it hit so many fucking right. It just
Hit
carried
so many nerves.
It carried such a great momentum, and when they hit certain things, it was just like, man, y'all executed it perfectly.
Mhm.
Like, wow.
Yeah,
Like,
there was only like I'd say 3 that really pulled on my strings where I was just like, oh, you fucker. And yeah, the dance was one of them. It was
so beautiful.
And another one was when, I don't know if we talked about that. We kind of briefly mentioned it, but Nell as a little girl is essentially haunting herself. She keeps complaining of the bent neck lady. And come find out it's her from hanging herself, which that was heartbreaking when the whole staircase scene where the mom was like, oh, just let go, baby. And like,
The way the
forget
house
it.
fucked with her, I think, was the worst.
Mm-hmm.
And then
But-
she drops, and I love that shot, dude. She drops as she's hanging herself, and then as the noose tightens, bam, 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 it goes through all the timelines of her haunting. So essentially, she not caused her husband's death, but like saw
She saw
herself
everything.
during the husband's
Yeah.
death and thought that,
Because it's
The bent
it's shown
neck
as a
lady was
like a
bad.
slot machine.
Mhm.
Almost like it
so
just
fucking
clicks
awesome.
on, and as it clicks off, it's just hitting these little spots in her timeline that reflect the most scariest moments in her life that she had to deal with.
and it was her. Oh my God, it was so brilliant.
And that was just
her.
great writing, because the way they filmed it and wrote it, it was just like,
Yeah.
that was great.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mike Flanagan even went on record saying that he was crying the entire time he was writing that,
Okay.
because that part of the story is just, again, heartbreaking. It destroys you to know that the thing that's been haunting this girl all of her life, and her just trying to find a release from it, just she doesn't want to deal with that trauma anymore, finds out she is the cause of her own trauma unintentionally, but still is the cause of all of it.
And that, I think Nell's a perfect interpretation of what the Red Room is.
Mm-hmm.
The Red Room fed off of Nell.
Yeah.
To the point where when she screams at that first scene of the bent neck lady, it was like the culmination of that circle being fulfilled. It was that red room that is something different to everybody. It's the reading room, it's the game room, it's the tree house. It's all these unique things to each individual person that experiences the house in a certain way. But to get to that fucking full circle with Nell, with the bent neck lady character, it's like, wow. Like, and that's why I think makes her the strongest out of the family, because she wasn't influenced to the fact the way the mother was. She was actually came back to the house and gave up to it, and she saw the
Well, she lost the only person that could bring her out of her problems.
And she
her
saw it.
husband, yeah.
I think that's what made her so strong for the family. And that, because if it wasn't for Nell's sacrifice, being the martyr, like I said, the whole family would have died. Because when you get to the end of the episode, everybody's story, once they get to the Red Room, they're at the moment of being eaten up and sacrificed to the house. It's Nell that fucking pulls them out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
she
love
keeps
that.
touching their foreheads, sending them back to
And
reality.
she becomes the one that's like, you know what? I've already been eaten. I know what this place is. Let me save you.
Yeah, I love how the house exposes you. Like for Shirley, who's always just the fucking, I am in control. I've got the perfect life. I've got this and that. Trying to, avoid all the bullshit. I love how as soon as she walks in that house, it takes her back like almost like a portal to the time she cheated on her husband.
Her infidelity.
Yeah, and she was like, "Oh, that's it's funny because the scene plays out, and then she's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna go to my room," and then it's like the guy walks back, he's like, "But that's not what you said, is it?" And then it plays out the reality of it, and it does that so beautifully with each character. Like, here was your fucking weakness. Here's where you're fucked up, and then as it's getting dark, Nell comes in and brings him out of
The
it.
only thing I don't like is Luke was unintentional. Luke didn't get a choice. They put the fucking needle in his arm. Like they that was the one that they forcibly took Luke.
Yeah.
They didn't give him a choice.
I think he shot up.
Well,
No,
I
because
think-
it was him seeing the woman he loved, the attic girl he loved, and she
Right.
put the fucking needle in his
Right,
arm.
right.
He
But I'm
didn't-
saying, not from what we're seeing, but since he is like having a vision of this, I think it's him doing it without intentionally doing it.
Well, also, I
You
think
know what I mean?
no,
with
because
No. I know what you mean. It shows in the room the chick shooting him up, but in the red room where he's actually sitting,
yeah.
it doesn't show anything. It just shows him ODing with a
But I'm saying,
needle in
like,
his arm.
everybody else was trying to put up resistance and they gave in. He gave full resistance and she
won.
she pushed it. Like
Yeah,
the house
she
pushed it on. That's the only thing I'm trying to make the point of, is because that's the only thing that made me fucking like
Oh,
furious.
I thought you were saying physically, like
No,
where it's
not
just like-
physically. Like the house, like fucking, like
Oh, shit.
they forced it on him. Like he didn't have a choice. He
Well,
couldn't-
he's a recovering junkie. He's
Yeah.
only 94 days clean, and
But in
he's
his-
failed
in-
multiple times.
But in
so.
his little episode where his little fucking vision, it was like he didn't make the choice.
When I was watching it today, when he went there to start the fire and the fire didn't start, I never noticed it the first time, but there's like a wash over his face of hopelessness. As soon as that fire extinguishes, he's just like,
yeah.
like
But
I
then
can't
he
get rid
gets
of it.
touched by the chick who's the manipulator, the
Right.
ghost that manipulates.
Yeah.
The thing with Luke, though, I think his ghost, his trauma, was seeing Abigail die at that point.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Seeing her getting, like he said, whenever he was talking to the mom, would you wake us from this nightmare when you see me putting poison in me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And calling back to the tea party of Abigail drinking the rat poison, and she's trying to get them to drink it as well. I think that's the ghost that he's dealing with, and it's causing him to not, like, metaphorically and literally put poison in him to try and get away from the hauntings that he's having, the problems that he's having, the issues that he's going through. He's trying to keep himself in a constant high so he doesn't have to deal with that monkey on his back, that ghost that's following him.
Yeah.
The one that I fucking sent you the text message of the guy, like, the fucking cane hitting, and all you see is the feet. And I sent Jeff a picture of that. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. I was like,
And Jeff's
wait.
like, wait.
Yeah, really.
That's all I got was wait.
Dude, like, there's, and I don't understand. I guess I don't understand Shirley's and Theo's trauma as much as I should, because definitely Luke has a fucking reason to be traumatized going down in that, the
dumbwaiter.
Oh yeah,
the belt.
seeing the fucking zombie.
Yeah,
thing in
the
fucking
zombie
cellar.
thing and ripping at him and shit. And then, being in the room when the little girl dies and
The
fuck.
treehouse, everything,
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
And then definitely Nell, due to, watching another little kid die and getting haunted with the bent neck lady.
And then seeing her
But
husband.
like Steve never really got fucked with too much.
No.
The only
No.
thing he saw was his mother running at him crazily
Which was
when his
crazy.
dad was fucking ass carrying him.
Mhm.
So I can't really recall, other than Theo being able to touch somebody and kind of read where this is coming from,
Which
like,
is
like
also
the welcome
super-
home or
yeah,
whatever.
which is supernatural in itself.
Shirley, though, I don't get what her big holdup in life is. Not holdup, but I guess her obsession comes from, like you said, when she was little, walking up to her mom's casket and the mortician telling her, comforting her as she walks towards it. Like, originally she didn't want to go up and see her mother, and he's like, no, she's at peace, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And he's explained the whole thing to her. And I think that impacted her so much that she herself became a mortician.
I think
kinda
everybody had
ironically.
unique situations or experiences, but what pissed me off the most with family, it's like they never talk to each other.
Mhm.
Well,
Like,
the
when you-
dad drove me nuts with that. Like
Like when you
spit
see
it out.
like when you see stuff like that, you would talk about it.
Yeah.
Like the scene when Theo and Shirley are driving, and you get that ultimate scare.
Oh, that fucking
The big
scared
one.
the shit out of
How
me.
that wasn't talked through, because you're dealing with Theo's moment of weakness and her feeling of nothingness,
Yeah.
and then when she touched her husband, Shirley's husband, she had the experience, but it was seen a whole different way. But it was a certain way. It's like all that shit trumped the idea that they just saw Nell or experienced that presence.
Yeah.
really.
That scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Well, it
here's
scared
my
the-
reason. Please give me forgiveness was more important than fuck. We almost wrecked because a ghost came
Yeah.
at us.
It
Like,
was-
cue that scream because that scared the shit out of me.
The thing about that particular scene, the little backstory, is that everybody knew it was coming. Everybody
I
knew.
didn't.
Well, like everybody on like
Fucking
production wise,
scared the
everybody in
shit out of me.
everybody in production knew that the scream was going to come. But what the actress that played as Nell, she made a executive decision to jump out early.
Oh wow!
Oh, nice.
So while Theo and
They're doing their
Shirley
delivery.
are doing their delivery, they still, from what they said, they still had like another like page of
That was
dialogue.
a fucking practical effect.
That was her.
And
Fuck.
That was her full makeup, but she made the executive decision. I'm going to jump out early and make sure this hits a point. And whenever she jumps out and screams, those are like actual reactions.
that's amazing.
Well, it worked for me.
Oh, it worked for everybody.
And as Nate just brought up with practical effects, the Two Storms episode, that was just. I mean, we talk about Daredevil's the prison sequence in the most recent season of Daredevil. We talk about Daredevil season 1, that hallway scene that's just amazing. That long shot. The scene in Two Storms when you're going to the funeral of Nell, the way they do that continuous shot.
4 segments of 15-minute straight uncut shots.
This was just filmmaking at its echelon of like master.
And it's almost seamless because it unless you have like a
I
knowledge of it, you can tell where the cut is.
don't look for the illusion. I just was just embraced by the magic that happens in that episode.
Dude, 15 minutes long is fucking hard. Now, look, we praised Halloween 2018 for a 3-minute walkthrough of Michael
the way they
going
use that
out.
Steadicam, which
yeah,
is
and
great.
people walking around the background like, holy shit, there's a lot of markers and cues to hit here. That's an uncut shot. That was 3 fucking minutes. Try to act straight for 15 fucking minutes.
That I went back to watch that
fucking
episode
hard.
again, and when you see just them doing simple things as like moving a statue to change the
The first time it pans past the
and they physically move the statue, put a
chandelier.
new one in, and then when the camera pans out, like all these things are real time events because it's just this one continuous take, and you're just like, wow.
I'm glad you brought this up because this is actually probably my favorite episode because just for seamlessness, that's the hard thing.
I was so into the show, like binging it, that when I got to the episode, I was so, just like, oh man,
So engulfed into it.
everything's happening. The dad's showing up at the funeral home. He's going to see Nell in the casket. Like, what's the emotions? And then you realize they haven't cut. They haven't gone to a different camera. This is the same camera the whole fucking time. And they go into the lights go out. They goes to the hallway. They're in that other house, and the camera hasn't cut. I don't see the cut, and everything's going on. And the kid actors are there, and you're like, "What the fuck is this? This is magical."
And do you actually like? I've done a couple of short films with a friend of mine. It is so hard to do the lighting. I don't know how the fuck they did the lighting. You always have to have a backlight on somebody, and you always have to have a front light on somebody. It's a equation light, you know what I'm saying? So whenever it's dollying up to a person on these seamless shots, I'm just like, how in the fuck? They must have littered the entire roof with like angled lighting, or like had on the dolly like a soft muted white lighting.
No, this is the reason
so weird.
these shows need to be seen in 4K. This is people shooting in like digital positive or whatever you want to call it, your digital medium that you're shooting on, especially with like the way Guardians of the Galaxy shot these days and stuff. You're shooting at 6.5K, so your low light effects are that to like what Stanley Kubrick wish he had, like when he did Barry Lyndon and stuff with the lenses he used for like the NASA fucking stuff. It's like these people are able to shoot such unique fucking lighting degrees that the way they're able to balance everything, like you said, and just carry things so forward and be so seamlessly great. That in itself is like a huge kudos to just production value.
That's what I'm saying. That roof had to be littered, I would say, with about 15 grips pulling the tiles, because you see the fucking roof, so there's the tiling of a roof, the popcorn styrofoam things that hang in the roof.
They show a camera guy get carried into like a weird elevator thing, and then he gets dropped into the scene, and he walks out, and he keeps with characters. I mean, the way that the cinematographer or the DP was just able.
Well, that's
to...
just a Panaglide. But what like
no, like they had a physical elevator that the fucking DP was like riding in as they went down from the second floor to the bottom floor. When they went down after they're all huddled on that carpet underneath the chandelier,
right.
And like the way the guy steps out and starts following the characters, I was just like, wow, this is like continuously.
This is next level shit right here.
It really was. I was thoroughly impressed with it, and I love that they built the sets to be able to conjoin. So you walk out the back hallway of the mortuary into this long hallway. Leads right into the Hill House room, that takes you back in time.
Yeah, because the older dad walks into it. Is beautiful.
And Mike Flanagan, specifically said, "Oh no, I built the sets so they can conjoin when I need them to."
Because he was thinking about that episode specifically.
Yeah, that was the one he pitched for.
That's the one he pitched, and he also made that the heart of the series.
Oh yeah,
he wanted that to be like
it was genius. That whole episode was genius. Steve, I didn't really care for his acting, but nitpicking on something gorgeous, like
because I can't. That's the thing I was gonna get to is like as we get into final thoughts as we get closer to the end of this episode and we get to the final thoughts, it's like I don't have anything to pick at with this fucking series. That's the one thing. It's like, and the replayability, it's just like I'm not ready for it yet, but I know it's there. There's like a perfect series to watch, kind of like Breaking Bad. It's like I know there's a perfect story to go revisit, but I am not there yet to like have to like watch it again because man, that was such a
that episode that and the last like three episodes like really just grabbed the fuck out of you. I mean the whole show grabs you, but like really the last three are like like you just pay attention. I love Luke's storyline. Goddamn the junkie life,
Yeah, Luke's
trying to get clean and just it's fucked.
He's doing his best. He's trying. He's definitely trying. This show, like everybody deals with their own ghosts, their own characters, their own problems, and the fact that they are haunted by it so much. They end up making their trauma into literal ghosts. Nell's really the only one I can't really say that she made it into a literal ghost because
she was the ghost.
Because she was the ghost. Granted, there's ghosts literally littered everywhere in this show.
Yeah, it's a Where's Waldo.
Like, if you haven't figured it out by now, if you've watched the show and you didn't see it, go back and rewatch some of those episodes. I can guarantee there's at least
48.
Yep, there's 48 total.
Yeah. Somebody posted a video of all of them on YouTube. It was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah. Okay, so there's 48 hidden ghosts all through this series, and then what makes it even creepier, the statues move.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The statues all change position, or well, not change position,
and not
but
in front of you.
Like not in front of you. Their heads are moving, their arms are in different placements. Everything, like there's so much subtlety into this. And these ghosts, they're fucking everywhere, but the main ones to focus on are the ones on the characters because they took their traumas and embodied them. They gave them literal monkeys. They gave them literal like forms. And for them to do that shows that they went through a lot of fucking stress. They went through a lot of problems. And a lot of people in like mental studies and whatnot would say that was them splitting. That's them they're splintering the negative portions of their lives and trying to make something that they can explain, something that their mind can better handle, and they ended up making these fucking ghosts. And it's fucking terrifying to see. With Luke and the fucking guy with the little bowler hat. That was fucking terrifying, especially when he was counting the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you see it coming behind him.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's still following him. 1, 2, 3. It's like right there, and it's like, oh my god, they're all haunted by something.
Yeah,
I was kind of confused by that because he's clean at that point. I was confused on why in the house, not the house, but the recovery home, why his ghost wasn't present. It was literally once he left the recovery house. Because it was back.
He wasn't being tempted. Because
I guess,
he was put out.
That makes sense.
Yeah, he's put out into the wild now. So now he like in the recovery house, he has no one to try and give him anything. Whereas when he's out in the wild, when he's out in the city, he now has all these options to him, and that's now an option again.
I guess.
And for
That
that,
does
to
make sense.
it serves as a constant reminder. Hey, I'm still here.
But I
You
was
sure
just
you
thinking
don't want that?
in terms of like a literal ghost,
Mhm.
like a person being haunted. It's kind of weird that it's not there with him. But yeah, it makes sense. You're weaker
Yeah,
out there,
he's
so
haunted.
you're more susceptible.
He's being that fucking Theo with her entire like wearing gloves. It's her inability. I don't know if it's inability or not wanting to be intimate with somebody. She doesn't want to touch them because she doesn't want to.
She's too sensitive.
She's too sensitive. She doesn't want to deal with seeing what happened to her mother.
Yeah.
Because she touched her mom's hand, or her mom touched her, whatever it was. I can't remember who touched whose hand. But whenever you look up and you see the mom is literally a corpse,
Yeah.
it can be traumatizing. And I can understand Theo not wanting to touch anybody anymore, so she wears those gloves.
That's what you have to get.
Well, she also touched the wall and Welcome Home and saw how that
Well,
came to pass.
that with Theo is emotional because she's taking care of kids. So when she sees that horrible storyline about the daughter's fucking
the smiling man.
the abuse that she's dealing with, she sees the monster. But then when she fucking finds out the monster and she touches the couch and she sees the face in the wood, she understands the
girl was
the creation of the monster, and she understands that sometimes, like you said, we create our own ghosts.
Yeah.
But this wasn't the case. Was the girl was doing the creating the ghost, but there was literally a fucking horrible monster in the fucking house. It was the dad.
Yeah.
Foster. Yeah,
That was just
Foster.
horrible.
The girl, again, she splintered. She took the negative aspect in her life and made it to something manageable to where it made it easier for her to explain.
But here you are feeling like the ugliest person, and you don't enjoy yourself. You have all this hate and anguish towards yourself, but then you look beautiful to somebody else, like she does in that her girlfriend that she picks up in the bar. So when you touch her without the glove, you're finally seeing yourself in a sensual, sexy way that you don't fucking feel for yourself at all. But when you're able to be sensitive, you're able to see yourself in a goodness fucking way that you don't fucking walk around with. So I thought that was the way she liked to experience sexual fucking nature. Is like, I needed to get off as obviously the one, but then I also just needed to feel like I'm something, not this ugly person that I feel like 24/7.
Was it something I said? No, we just came here to do what we wanted to do.
Exactly.
Theo, I'm a Leo.
And Theo was awesome. I mean,
Yeah,
as much as I had issues with her character a lot of the time, she was just awesome.
Well, I mean, she's played by the lady from Hush. She is fucking fantastic.
She does a great
She's
job.
fantastic in the past 3 things I've seen her in. So
Like I said,
Top notch to
I
her.
frustrate for the fucking family. It's like, just communicate with each other. And
well,
you
the
mother-
dad.
all they
Okay,
need.
we haven't spoke about the dad. Let's
Yeah.
get in the dad real quick.
Timothy
'Cause
Dalton.
What?
What?
And Bond.
Jesus Christ.
James Bond.
No, he is one of my favorite aspects of this,
Timothy
and
Hutton.
the most annoying fucking aspect of it. Henry Thomas annoys the fuck out of
He's
me
a
as
magic.
young. No, he's not.
Magic.
However, old Pops is fucking amazing. The thing that annoys me the most about him is he's always, like you said, not communicating because he's thinking of what he's going to say, but then the kids are just yelling at him, and you can see him like look to his left or his right and kind of space out, and then, okay, well, I did it for this reason. Oh no, but like he never finishes a fucking sentence, and it drives me
He's guarding.
nuts.
He's guarding a secret. He's
Well, the
guarding
whole-
his ghost.
Yeah, his ghost is. He's always talking to his wife.
Right,
She's
yeah.
right there,
Mm-hmm.
and the kids don't know that. And he, all he's got to do is say, "Kids, your mother's right here. She's been haunting me for 30 fucking years."
And you know who's going to come in and
Huh.
say otherwise? The older son.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
You're
Older
insane.
son, you're a fucking idiot. Theo, touch me. Like, that's
Theo,
all you
touch
got to
me.
do.
You're right.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
But
No,
but
definitely.
Steve annoys the fuck out of me in this.
Because he's his dad.
No, he's a prick. His dad's a handy person that's always been sweet.
But
and
he's
always,
trying to protect.
always tries to be understanding. Where Steve is just a money grubbing cocksucker. I can't stand him.
Nobody else is helping the family out. So he's the only one that does take
Well,
the stance
I
of
mean,
family.
they didn't know.
They didn't know, but he was.
He wasn't helping Luke out. He wasn't helping Nell out.
He helped everybody out. He was the giving hand. He was the giving tree for like centuries. of the family because the dad wasn't
Like
really.
the only thing, I think the only one that did not accept the help was Shirley.
Shirley, yeah.
But even then, the husband took
the
it.
husband did.
Yeah, because
So-
Theo.
Was a giving tree
Filtered
also.
it to her,
She
yeah.
was over there helping everybody out too because she fucking was oversensitive.
Well,
too.
she took Shirley's cut of the, whatever the guy was giving her, Steve
then
giving
gave
her,
it.
and then giving it to the husband.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was.
And Shirley was protecting Nell because Luke was
But
the way Luke
literally,
was. Everybody was
all-
trying to always look out for somebody's best interest
All the
for
dad's
their
got-
best
All
interest.
the dad's got to do is finish a fucking sentence and lay it out how it is. Look, all my family's traumatized from ghosts. Every single fucking one of them. So why not explain why the patriarch, the dad, who everybody thinks is the cause of this, here's my ghost. I have a fucking medium of a daughter that's way overly sensitive and can read my past. Touch my hand. So, you'll see what happened. It would all be explained. They'd be a happy fucking family. They'd be
Yeah.
a little house on the prairie instead of little house on
But if your
fucking
mom's
hill.
psychotic who just killed herself and killed people, you're
No,
always
no, no,
constantly
no.
thinking you're on the brink of something that's horrific. So
Right.
you're always protecting yourself as much as you're protecting the person
But I'm
next
saying
to you.
as older.
I understand.
As older.
Yeah, yeah, I
Not
know.
like as kids.
Yeah.
But like, hey, we're in our 30s. Everybody hates me, and here's why.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, maybe he was guarding her from everything he's saying. The mom's filtering what for him to say. So it's kind of annoying that nobody lets him finish a fucking sentence because maybe he would get it out. But then again, he doesn't explain himself.
He doesn't want to talk about it. Exactly.
Your daughter just died, and your fucking son's a fucking junkie, and everybody's ripped apart.
That's why when his son goes to the house and he brings his son with him, it's like all this, the snowball finally is going down the hill. And he's like, all right, here, this is where we're at. This is what we have to do. And that's why
And when he finally actually says, I'm not crazy, just listen to me for a minute while he's driving. He's
Yeah.
like, I've let you do all the talking. Now it's my turn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that when he finally gets to that point, it's like, thank you. Fucking thank you.
Oh, when the dad and Theo are in Shirley's office and they see the crawling across the room, and the
mother.
forever house gets
Yeah.
knocked down, it's like, why don't you talk about that? It's like you're always getting
Yeah,
frustrated.
and even Theo was like, we're not going to talk about what we just saw. And he's like, no, not yet. Not
and
yet.
you're frustrated.
And it's like,
because-
what?
Yeah.
Why?
That's super annoying. Like, I'd be like, Atticus, pack your shit. There's a ghost. Fucking run for your life.
Let's go.
You go up.
Up, indeed. We're going up in a plane and going fucking elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like, we're out of here. Sammy, you're staying.
Deal with the house. And that's why I love the story of when you get to the
Haunting the house on First Street.
Right.
the mold story of like the house tells you that this man wanted everything just to be tall and all this stuff, and you get the idea, you get the story of how this man in his afterlife got his dream come true, his wish answered. Now he's this super tall man that levitates out of the house and he's king of the castle kind of shit. But he chooses Luke to be almost to haunt because Luke had the hat.
The bowler hat, yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you're choosing your evil and the evil stays with you. But then it also, because like you said, is it a figurative thing of like PTSD? Is it in your mind that you're being haunted by this thing because you are so affected by the trauma of the house? Or is it Luke's bent neck lady that's always fucking with him? You're constantly juggling.
You mean Nell's bent neck?
Yeah, Nell's bent neck lady. So you're always like, is this Luke's thing? Is this his thing? Is it, or are they experiencing this, or is it just a ghost, or is it his mind? And you're always juggling it because you're like, what was the direct effect for the house?
Because you can never tell if it's going to be the metaphorical ghost that's haunting him or the literal ghost that's haunting him. You can never tell the difference because the show does such a great job on blurring that line.
Yeah,
and it's just, I don't know how they did it. I don't know who did it, but whatever the fuck it was, bravo.
yeah,
Fucking, that is what excellent storytelling is.
exactly.
I would like to know how he wrote this. Did he write each individual character's story and then do the amalgamation and mix them? Because writing it the way he presents it, I couldn't imagine writing like that. That's fucking insane.
Reading the script
That's
way
a lot of continuity.
with that.
There's a lot. Like, hey, I'm going to tie all this into a pretty bow in 700 pages later. Like, what?
Well, what's magical is that imagine to write those linear narratives and then intercut them the way they did per episode. You're talking about the script being a certain way, the story being a certain way, the balance is always in flux. And then you don't really find a baseline until you get to certain episodes where you go, wow, that's what the character is. That's what that's going to mean to me. Oh, when the end of the episode, the season finale is this, it's like, oh, now I have this purpose of seeing this other episode because it did this to me, and now that's how I can fucking rationalize it. It's fucking awesome that they would go to such a degree to write a story like this. I don't know. I was just fucking... That's why when everybody was like, oh, the season finale was such a lackluster, it was like, it wasn't supposed to be a spectacle. It was more of an emotional fucking grounding to create a baseline for the family.
It was supposed to be a nice period at the end of the story, you know? Tie it all up. And, like, I think the crazy thing that got me for a lot of people is that everyone's like, oh, the last episode, they pulled a Deus Ex Machina with Nell. It's like, well... in all honesty, I think they fucking deserved it. Think of all the shit that family went through.
Yeah.
And here comes the answer in the form of Nell's ghost.
Yeah.
And for her to just say that last line is fucking, you better get some fucking tissues.
Yeah.
Those last bit of words that she tells them.
Forgiveness is warm, like a tear on a cheek. Think of that and of me when you stand in the rain.
Just that one bit, and she saves all of them. I think that's fucking beautiful. Stick with it. And they're like, oh no, it's fucking Deus Ex Machina. No, fuck you.
I hate people that say it's Ex. Like, just the phrase itself pisses me off.
Well, yeah. Because
I like to smell my own farts.
That's like, yeah, for you to say that, people are like, oh, it's fucking... it was such a lackluster. Well, what did you expect? The fucking house to go up in an explosion? Like,
yeah, like
there's a reason. Like, they explain why the house had to stay.
Yeah, they don't come in with proton packs and just cure the fucking house and shoot the ghosts. You know.
Yeah.
You know
it's a piece of cake, piece of crumb cake.
The magic of the fucking whole story is that red room.
Mm-hmm.
That's the magic. That's, like they say, it's the stomach. It's what's dissecting you. And the way they dissect you is you always get that... what grounds you in the red room is that fucking thin-ass window.
Yeah.
And they talk about it being present in everybody's little fucking representation of the red room is that thin little window.
Mm-hmm.
And the fucking weird thing is that Mike Flanagan struggled with was the ending of the episode when everybody's doing the blow out the candle at Luke's fucking graduation thing for 2 years.
Was supposed to be a lot fucking darker.
Well, they wanted just to have the window in the background.
Yeah.
Like they're still
there.
Digested by the house.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no. This family went through enough shit.
Yeah.
They get their fucking happy ending.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what the strength was, is when when the oldest son looks over and he sees the dad's dead body and he knows the dad that he's saving everybody with is the ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's the realization of like, this is what the house is. And if you didn't fucking understand it, that's why you get the fucking innkeepers or the keepers, you know, the people that take care of the house.
Yeah.
That's why you get that little extra denouement at the end. It's like the house is evil and scary, but it's also this beautiful fucking like snow globe. It's like
it's a haven for everyone who has passed.
It can be.
Mm-hmm.
It can be this thing of like it's what you can make of it. You know, yeah, it can be this prison, but it can also be, you know, this place.
Well, this show also it really plays that tune of regardless of how much shit you go through, there's always that light at the end of the tunnel. Like
redemption. Yeah,
redemption. This house, like a lot of shitty shit has happened in here. But at the end of it all, like the father sacrificed himself for the rest of the family to finally get out of the grasp of the house itself.
Yeah, he has to say it to the wife, like, I will die here and stay with you the way I should have been from the get-go to make this right for us and for you. We just need to let them go on. We need this is what we made. We need to let them go on. I love that.
And if you didn't catch that, then you said you have the innkeepers. How much shit did they go through? They lost both children. They fucking the house have seen so many different families in there. I think they even said that their family also took care of the house as well. The amount of shit that they've gone through, and for the wife to finally get her happy ending, to have both children
to pass away in the house and be left as a ghost.
Yeah, to be left as a ghost.
And you see that scene where she's just holding the stillborn baby, and the newborn baby's still in her arms, you know.
And then here comes Abigail right there next to her. It's like, fuck!
And the dad's just like, yeah, here's my happy, you know, like when I leave, I don't have to fucking face, you know, the void. I can come here and just...
We inherit a mansion.
I can surrender to this, you know? Whatever this is, this could be my heaven.
When I die, I'm going to get a Volkswagen.
I thought it was a Golf TDI.
It will be a Golf TDI, or else somebody's getting haunted.
Yes.
That's going to be great. I think that transmission's bad again. It might just be Nate. I don't know.
The engine's knocking.
You have Fulps in your...
You got a gremlin.
You got a Fulps in your engine. How can you tell? Woo! There it is.
Show me your dick.
He only says that when I put the gas tank in. When I stick the thing in the gas tank.
Remember I opened the hood.
Oh, man. I just put the 6 inches into the gas tank and woo! What the fuck is it? Is that my car?
Oh.
Exhaust.
Fucking engine starts sputtering. He's got heartburn tonight.
It only lasts, I don't know, it only goes about 2 minutes and then it just dies.
I have nothing to say. Got a final thoughts.
All right. I'll knock it out. Yeah, like everybody said, we haven't seen a series like this since maybe, like, I think True Detective season 1 hit the mark with the director doing all the series. That was pretty much the first time I really took heart to, like, wow, this is what a series can do if the director just takes the fucking limelight throughout the whole season. And True Detective 1 is great. It's amazing. It's magic. And with this, what Mike Flanagan did was just a fucking spectacle of, like, wow. He raised the bar. He saw what could be, and he just raised the bar to the next level. And I can't wait to see what they do next. I hope they further along the series. If it's dead in the water, it's going to be a very true season 1 or whatever you want to call it. It's a great series as it is. I'm happy to revisit it. Like we said about the Where's Waldo with the ghost stuff, every episode has a little treat for you to look for or, you know, to kind of hunt for if you go to that end degree. But yeah, for me, it's just sit there and enjoy a great storyline and great acting from beginning to end of the series. I can't wait to see more from Mike Flanagan.
For me, this show, I think... Well, no, I was going to say, I think I was the last one to finish it. Nate was. It took me a little bit to actually jump on it. Like, I watched the first 2 episodes. I was like, oh, man, this is actually really fucking good. And I never revisited it until after we did our little crossover episode with Travis from Pop Culture Rewind. After that, I went back and finished it. And I am so fucking happy that I did. I wish I would have done it earlier. This show is, to me, so fucking well written. Mike Flanagan does a great job. The actors and actresses that took part in this sell every moment of it. Every episode is an emotional roller coaster. You're either getting the shit scared out of you or you're crying. It's one or the other, and it leaves you wanting more. It leaves you wanting to do the next episode and keep fucking going. So for this episode, if you've made it this far and you still haven't fucking watched it, what the fuck did you just do to yourself? Like, stop. Just go watch the episode. Take our word for it. Like, Rotten Tomatoes has given it an amazing score. IMDb's given it amazing scores. I'm giving it an amazing score. Like, this is... I look forward to when Netflix decides to put this on Blu-ray, because I will have it on my shelf. Very, like screw alphabetical order. It's going to be on the fucking front of it. This has become one of my favorite shows to watch. I highly recommend it to anybody else that wants... just some really good fucking storytelling. And if this is to be a one and done kind of deal, perfect. It ended great. If they end up doing a second season for some weird reason, I'll go in there and I'll watch that too. I'll just have to see how it pans out. Hopefully it's a different family, because I feel as though the Cranes have gone through enough. So we'll just have to see how that goes. This show, I keep trying to say movie. This show it's a definite watch, and very patiently wait for Netflix to throw it on a Blu-ray DVD release, because they've been doing it with fucking Stranger Things, Daredevil. I want to see this one pop up because it will be a day one buy at wherever I need to pick it up at.
Like I said earlier in the show, I got really, really, really fucking confused on who is what and who is where and what timeline are we in and where. Okay, like it'll jump back 30 years and then 4 years and then 4 months later and then like, where the fuck am I? I think something that pinpointed that, Jeff, is you power watch this.
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't have, like, I had watched the first episode and then like 5 days later watched the second and then the third like 3 days later, and it really fucked me up because I was like, okay, I don't know who these people are. I don't, who the fuck is this guy? Oh, okay, this little kid is this guy. And then finally at the third episode, I just paused it and I was like, I'm looking who the fuck who is what. Like, what little kid is what big actor, you know, full grown. So that fucked with me, but I think it's just because I had to take so many time in between episodes.
Gotcha.
When I started power watching it, it all came to pass real fast. But yeah, I think if you're gonna watch this, power watch it. At least power watch 5 or 3 or 4 episodes and then return the next day or the day after. But don't take weeks of separation like I did, because it fucked me all up. Beautifully shot, beautifully acted, beautifully written. God, this was such a home run. I can't think of another series, especially horror series, that tops this. It's not like overly scary, but man, one scene in particular in episode 6, when you know they're at Nell's, you know, the pre-funeral. She's just sitting there in the casket, and they do these long walkthroughs. The end of that episode where Nell, crooked neck Nell or bent neck Nell, is standing next to her coffin is just so fucking sad. There's so many heart-grabbing moments, and then there's also these poo shit splatter moments where he scares the hell out of you. So
yep.
That backseat one, dude, that fucking got me so bad. But
I think it got all of us super bad.
Yeah, bad. I mean, I was like kind of just listening the dialogue, and all of a sudden, what the fuck is that? Like,
Oh my god,
dude. But yeah, I can't give it any higher of recommends. It's fucking great. If they do continue it, great, but I think they should leave it as a one-off. I mean, what are they going to do? Like a new family that buys it, or are they going to go colonial times when the house was built, or
they're going to go with the 1920s lady?
Oh God, I really hope not, because you know, period pieces are risky.
Yeah,
so,
they can get a little rough.
High recommends. Watch the fuck out of it.
So should we roll into Get It Straight with Nate? Do we have anything for this?
I got a
this
little
is a first
bit.
for Get It Straight, because this
Yeah.
is a TV show now.
This was fucking hard, because it was like I started thinking about what I'm going to say for Get It Straight, and it's like I have to cover 10 hours, like almost 11 hours of material.
This is a first for the Straight with Nate franchise.
So I'll keep it simple. Hit my music.
Is this Aussie conditioner?
That is fine hide leather.
You've never felt softer pubes. Let me hear you say it, baby. You're good. Good.
You're rating right up there. Like a fucking Pepsi commercial.
Good.
All right, tonight on Get It Straight with Nate, I've heard of monkeys on your back, but Jesus Christ, this is ridiculous. Bent neck, meet bend over. Theo makes me want to have a sex change so I could still be a lesbian. Carla Gugino makes me want to change back from my sex change. Henry Thomas hasn't gotten better in 50 fucking years. Shirley's Match.com profile says she's into stiff drinks and stiff men. And then tonight on Flip This Fucking House. That's all I got.
hilarious.
That's all I got. So that's Get It Straight with Nate.
can't employ you enough to watch this series and rewatch the series until we get something else better than this. You know, if y'all do find better, let me know. Let all of us know, because we're always on, on the watch for something that's as unique as this was.
Well, yeah, it's rare to find something classy.
Yeah.
That's really good.
I mean, I've been tipped off to a bunch of things that are kind of old, but nothing's really lived up to what this level of fucking amazingness. Like I said, if you're late to the game, True Detective Season 1 is probably my best, closest recommend I can give you. And if you haven't seen True Detective Season 1, I really feel sorry for you, because you haven't really experienced what amazing TV series can be. Because before this, it was obviously Season 1 True Detective for me. But yeah, we have more things coming up for this upcoming month. We can't wait to share more upcoming things that we got going on. We can't fucking spill the beans yet. We're going to see, you'll probably see some couple of posts coming up that we're going to be doing some giveaways as we get closer to the end of the year. And we have some really big news that we're going to be sharing with you right at the end of the year, which is kind of what we're all kind of holding off on, being tight-lipped about.
Yeah.
But which is kind of hard, because we have, every time Nate says something, we have to cut his mic.
Yeah, because we're like, well, we can't talk about it yet.
Well,
so. All right, so we hope to have something fun for you next episode. So, from all of us to all of you, this is Jeff.
This is Nathan.
And this is Ralph.
Keep it scary, guys.
Let my darling take me there. If I go, I'm going crazy.
Thank you for listening to Deep in the Horror of Texas. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. If you like what you hear, please leave a review on the iTunes or Stitcher radio app. And above all, remember to keep it scary.
Sound clips, sound effects, and music used in Deep in the Horror of Texas is owned by the copyright holders. Deep in the Horror of Texas makes no claim of ownership on the copyrighted audio and simply uses it for the sole purpose of entertainment, criticism, commentary, and education under fair use. Please support the official release of the audio used in today's episode where available to you, and remember to keep it scary.